is that if you look at the Utah situation from last season, impressive start, not just the W's, but who they came against. Michigan, Oregon, Cal was ranked in the top 25 at the time and finished in the top 25 in America, and Washington, who turned out to be an extremely good football team by the end of the season. The head scratcher for me, USC, loads of talent, understandable on the road. Even the UCLA game at the Rose Bowl, or that was a home game against UCLA there. But the Arizona game, the Wildcats went to postseason play. They won 7 games total, but they didn't beat anybody else good in the Pac-12. They generally got rocked by any of the good teams in the Pac-12. But the upset at Arizona, losing that one 37-30. So the key, I guess, Shane, as we talked before we came on for you, is to avoid that down week.
Yeah, and Arizona's, since Rich Rod has taken over Arizona, he's just had Coach Witt's number. Utah's had a hard time getting over that hump for whatever reason. Last year, double overtime game down there. Utah was ranked 10th in the country. And it felt uneasy throughout the entire game. It was just one of those ones where I was like, I don't know if they're going to pull this one out. And sure enough, they dropped in double overtime. And yeah, Utah's had a head scratcher. They've dropped just a bad game. Pretty much every year they've been in the conference, but in the last 2 years in particular, with the 9 and 10 win seasons, there's just one that's kept them away. If they had won either the Arizona game last year or even the Washington State game 2 years ago, which Utah dropped after leading 21-0, they win the Pac-12 South. So Utah has been within a game of winning the division twice. And this year, you look at the conference slate, there's no really gimme in the conference except maybe Oregon State, Colorado as well. Colorado's getting a lot better, though. So, Utah goes to Cal in week 5, it looks like. That one's not going to be an easy game. That could be one of those ones. Utah's probably the better team, but they could drop that one. Arizona at Rice-Eccles Stadium the week later. So they just have to avoid one of these trip-up games that has just plagued them over the years. At Arizona State, Utah hasn't won in Tempe in probably a century, literally. So there's a lot of landmines all over a Pac-12 schedule, as every team can attest to. So if they can avoid just one of those just stupid losses that they shouldn't have, then Utah should find themselves, frankly, in the driver's seat right alongside probably USC.
Yeah, it's a program that, despite all the success over the last 15 or 20 years, many people thought was overmatched entering the Pac-12, getting off to a rough start that first season, but certainly showing us in the last 2 years up to the challenge of facing USC and UCLA, most notably in trying to win a Pac-12 South championship to get to the title game. 3 keys from Shane Roberts at Block U for Utah in winning the conference championship this year. Better offensive production with Devontae Booker off to the NFL, piecing together that running game, finding more big plays in the passing game behind a very stout offensive line. Number 2, production at linebacker with what sounds to be some possible studs in the making, but they're just totally unproven. And then number 3, avoiding that down week like we saw last year and in recent years, last year, most notably to Arizona on the road. All right, Shane, appreciate the breakdown on Utah.
No problem, Mark. Thanks as always.